right behind you.
Hey, stranger. Vice Mayor Strange, you'll address her properly. You can kiss my foot. Mr. Rickard, you're out of order.
FBI, we are asking you to investigate this council. Please look into this council, how they award contracts, the bid process, how they use their positions to benefit their friends and themselves, how they use their positions to attack residents and critics and neighbors and business competition. FBI, will you please look into this?
And I welcome the FBI here. If you notice, Mr. Thompson, with his plea for the FBI and his watchdog group, this city runs the cleanest in this whole county. I guarantee
He was served a federal subpoena this morning.
We did receive a subpoena this morning, and we're going to cooperate 100% with the subpoena.
And most of you who were involved up here, you gaslighted me. You tried to say I was crazy. And now we know that that's not true. And there's a lot of other issues I've been asking about as well.
What a night. This one's going to be a barn burner tonight. You are going to see for the very first time, you're going to have the very first eyes on the big whistleblower lawsuit. I mean, this one's big against the city of Panama City Beach. It was filed today, and the other news outlets don't know about it yet, but we're going to catch them up to speed. WMBB and WJHG and the News Herald and all the rest. As a matter of fact, I'll ask Miss Sarah Moon, I sent you an email, and in that email is a link to the PDF of the complaint, of the whistleblower complaint, the lawsuit that was filed today by Tony O'Rourke, the city manager for Panama City Beach, the one that they brought in, the high-profile city manager. And I wasn't sure about Tony O'Rourke when they brought him in. But he turned out to be the one honest guy, way too honest and way too honorable for Panama City Beach. The day after he reported, he sent, well, he reported it before, but the day after he sent an official memo to the mayor and to each member of the city council that he had found fraud, gross mismanagement, neglect of duty. They fired him the very next day. And they said, we got to bring in an internal investigator, find out what Mr. O'Rourke was talking about now that we fired him, which always made me wonder if he was so unreliable to fire him, why did you need to bring in an investigator to find out what he was talking about? Well, they did. And tomorrow night, the Panama City Beach City Council has a meeting, and I'll be there. There, I believe they're going to announce their findings. I think they're even going to have the attorneys they hired and paid more than $30,000 to do an investigation. Oh, I bet you what they found was very detailed. You're not going to believe what's going to happen tomorrow night. But first, you're not going to believe what I'm going to show you tonight. So Tony O'Rourke, former city manager, you're going to find out tonight what exactly it was. I'm going to show it to you. I would go up there and ask them, I got a public record request, and so did the other media outlets. I want to know whose name is on that memo. Did Tony O'Rourke name anybody, and did he name any elected officials? He did. Let's begin by catching up on the story and taking a look at how WMBB reported the firing of Tony O'Rourke on February 12th. I believe it was February 12th this year, just a few months ago, about 3 months ago. So let me show you first that. All right, we're going to go to WMBB again and their report about, and notice how they frame it. All right. Notice how they frame it. There is a law firm coming in to investigate, an internal investigation after they fired Tony O'Rourke. All right. Let's see about this.
Panama City Beach has hired Holland and Knight law firm based out of Tallahassee to help conduct an internal investigation. The investigation was launched on February 9th, but details on the full nature of that investigation have not been released. The mayor told News 13 a part of it revolves around a memo sent in by former city manager Tony O'Rourke. We have requested a copy of that memo, but have been told it is exempt from public records until the investigation is over. O'Rourke was fired on February 11th. We asked Mayor Mark Sheldon, about the investigation.
I can't comment a lot on that because we have an internal investigation going on. So it's a law firm that we've hired to help us conduct that process.
The mayor declined to make any more comments on the issue.
All right. Well, they're going to be making comments tomorrow night. I believe the investigation is wrapped up and they're going to share their findings. So that's how they frame that. Now, if you remember Tony O'Rourke, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but he came in and really did a good job with their strategic planning. The employees all liked him. And he discovered that there was a, when we talk about gross mismanagement and fraud, there was a piece of property. It was an empty lot over in Lowwater in Panama City Beach. And Mayor Mike Pay-to-Play Thomas, he said, you know what we need to do? We need to put a park on there. We need to put like a nice park for kids. All right. The problem is that lot, that piece of property, was private property. It wasn't city property. Now, the city had been acting as though it was city property for 30 or 40 years. The city officials probably thought it was public property. They thought the city owned it. They'd maintained it for a long time. But around April 2019, you had city officials, to include City Attorney Amy Myers and engineer Kelly Jenkins. They looked at the deed and they said, holy Nikes, that's not city property. That's private property. It belonged to Lowwater HOA, but it's not city property. That's private property. No matter. Mike Thomas says we need a park there anyway, a nice park for kids. So Mario Rico Gisbert, the city manager, then he goes to work on this, right? He says, okay, what Mike wants, Mike gets, see? And so he started to direct this, and it would be over $50,000 to make this nice park for kids right there in Lowwater, more than 50 grand. But see, that would take an actual vote. Well, the council decided, well, Mike Thomas decided, and Mario Gisbert decided that we don't need that to be public. We don't need everybody to know that we're going to spend your money, taxpayer money, to build a park on a piece of private property called Popeye Park, by the way. Popeye Park. Now, oh, have I told you, Mayor Mike Thomas's son lives right by the park. That lot, that private lot is adjacent to the mayor's son's home and his grandkids. The mayor wanted a nice park there, but they really couldn't do that. So they did it anyway. And City Attorney Amy Myers, this is where the neglect of duty comes in. She knew it. There are emails. She and Mario Gisbert were told by, I believe, by Kelly Jenkins, and Amy Myers looked it up herself. It's not that difficult to figure out who owns a piece of property. They knew it. And they went ahead with it anyway. But they had to be creative, because if you spend more than $50,000, you got to bring it to the council. They got to vote on it. So they did it piecemeal. They did it about $9,999 at a time. Kind of like that car Johnny Cash used to sing about. Remember? You had a 49, 50, 51, 52. You know the song. It's a lot cheaper if you bring the parts out in your lunchbox one piece at a time. It's sort of the same kind of concept. So they did it piecemeal. And that way, it never has to go in front of the council. Nobody knows about it. So the whole project went ahead, and hoping nobody would find out. It wasn't budgeted either, by the way. Well, Tony O'Rourke came across that by accident. And understanding that the FBI is all over the city of Panama City Beach, every one of them had to comply with a federal subpoena in August. And the FBI agent was talking with employees. Now, the city manager at the time, Tony O'Rourke, he's in charge of the employees. The council is not. The council's in charge of him. He answers to the council, but they cannot go around him to the employees. And neither could city attorney, who does the dirty work for the city, Cole Son Davis. And see, Cole Son Davis was very concerned because the FBI agents were talking to employees about any corruption that might be going on, any racketeering that might be happening in City Hall. So city attorney Cole Son Davis said, I need to be at these interviews when the FBI is talking to our people. City manager Tony O'Rourke said, are you crazy? You're part of the investigation. They're looking at you, kid. You are a subject of the investigation. You can't at once be somebody the FBI is investigating and represent and advocate for city employees. That's a conflict of interest. You can't do that. I think what I'll show you, why don't we take a look at the memo that I've been asking the council for? They never gave it to me, but now it's a matter of public record because it's in the lawsuit that the other news outlets haven't discovered yet. But here we go. This is the memo that Tony O'Rourke sent that got him fired. Take a look at that. So it's addressed to the mayor and the council. Popeye Park in Lowwater received over $50,000. It's a private park, not city-owned property. Public Works Director Kelly Jenkins informed both the city manager, Mario Gispert at the time, this would have been in around April of 2019, and city attorney Amy Myers. Hey, we can't budget for private property. But the mayor wanted it. His son lives right next to it. We need a nice park for the grandkids. More than $50,000. It was never budgeted. And despite all of this, former city manager Mario Rico Gispert instructed Parks and Recreation Director Jim Ponick to find money to develop the park per city council direction. So Mario Gispert said, hey, Jim, he's the guy. Jim Ponick's a good guy. He runs Park and Recreations, and he works his ass off. I think he's a great, great worker and a great director of the department. But, you got to follow the boss's orders, and Mario Gispert already showed that they were willing to fire people who didn't do everything they said. So, Jim, find some creative ways, okay, so that we can build this park for Mayor Thomas. Now, you may recall Mayor Thomas. What he wanted, he got. And if he didn't want you, you were gone. And Mayor Mike paid to play Thomas. Now it's Mayor Mark Sheldon. But back to this. You'll see at the bottom, then Mayor Mike Thomas, his son, the improvement. Okay, so staff repeatedly reported that the impetus for Popeye Park project improvements came from Mayor Thomas. The residential property adjacent to Popeye Park, well, that's the home of Mike Thomas's son. This is the memo I've been trying to get the council. Every one of them got this memo. I would go up there and ask them, what's it about? They just sat there and stared at me. Compounding, this is the letter from Tony O'Rourke that got him fired. Compounding this gross mismanagement of public funds to improve private property is the failed duty of the city attorney to inform the council of this matter. It is a matter of ethics, of attorney ethics, that they must inform if they know there's something. If she knows it's private property and she knows they can't spend taxpayer money on it, she has a duty to inform the council and never did. There's goodness gracious, how do I know? Emails. That's how we know. No referral of this matter was made to the highest authority of the city council. The conduct of the city, Panama City Beach, is under review right now by law enforcement. It is problematic, said Tony O'Rourke, that the city attorney's office, for them to simultaneously serve as advocate and legal counsel to city employees while also being a participant in some of the conduct under review. It's a conflict of interest, he said. Now that is incredible. So understand, while the FBI agent was getting information from employees, City Attorney Cole Son-Davis, who is part of the people being investigated, kept saying, I need to be in these interviews, because they wanted to know what the employees were saying to the FBI. They wanted to hinder the FBI investigation. And City Manager Tony O'Rourke said, you're not doing that. Cole Son-Davis, you are not going to sit in there, because then the employees can't be honest with the FBI agents. Well, that freaked out Mayor Mark Sheldon and Vice Mayor Jeff McConnell. I still wonder what McConnell, the communication McConnell had on his phone when the FBI searched it. How many text messages and emails? There had to be thousands between McConnell and, say, Derwin White, those people. Anyway, let's get back to this. So I want to show you what happened on the day after Tony O'Rourke submitted that whistleblower. Hey, Mike Thomas pushed to have more than $50,000 secretly spent piecemeal to build a park on a piece of private property right next to his son's house, so his grandkids could have a nice park. Wow. So here's what went down. Let's listen to Mayor Mark Sheldon at the city council meeting the day after he submitted that letter. Here we go. This is what Mark Sheldon did in response to the letter that Tony O'Rourke wrote to them.
Mr. O'Rourke cares about the truth when the truth benefits him, and cares about rules when they benefit him. But when the truth and the rules don't benefit him, they somehow become less important and worse. I have major concerns with Mr. O'Rourke's ability to manage Panama City Beach. We live in an amazing community that should have superior management. We are paying for superior management with the salary that Mr. O'Rourke gets. We're not getting those results. We're not getting honesty. Without honesty, I cannot continue to sit here and allow it to go on as your mayor. I think it's time for the city manager to move on to another position or another city that has the right fit for his community. Mr. O'Rourke's contract provides for termination without cause at any time for any reason or no reason. Although I've stated my personal reasons at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to terminate Mr. O'Rourke without cause.
Can you believe that? Of all people, Mark Sheldon calling somebody else a liar. Somebody like Tony O'Rourke. All right, let's get to what did Vice Mayor Jeff McConnell say on that fateful day? Well, let's take a look. Remember now, Jeff McConnell, of all people, one thing he loves to do is project and to gaslight. Let's see if any of that happened. By the way, McConnell said that city manager Tony O'Rourke would not allow him to talk to employees. Now, I don't know how he could say that with a straight face, because all of the employees who were sitting in the room at the meeting, they're all thinking, I just talked to Jeff McConnell. He always comes to see us. You know, there are some people. Have you ever known anybody who can lie without compunction? I mean, they can lie to you and it doesn't even faze them. Almost as though they do it because they get some sort of special joy out of it. I contend that is how Jeff McConnell is. I've seen him do the craziest stuff. Some people can lie and have absolutely no shame about it. Everybody in the room knows what he's about to say is not true about Tony O'Rourke. Listen to this.
I've had bad faith presented from you towards me, and I was the one who had to have the city attorneys start sitting in with me on my weekly meetings so that I would have a second voice to hear what I say, so that it wasn't presented incorrectly to staff or to other members of the public. I'm deeply dissatisfied, and I'm very disappointed when you're coming in here. And the acceleration and the decline of the culture of the staff here in the last few months has rapidly accelerated. And it's deeply disappointing to us, to me, to find ourselves in this position where we're in right now as an organization.
You can hear in his voice he's dishonest as hell. The decline of the culture. Councilman McConnell, really? The employees love Tony O'Rourke. It was the crooked elected officials and some of the other officials that didn't understand. Remember, by the way, before I forget, I'm supposed to share this so that, because first of all, nobody else knows about this, none of the other news outlets. But secondly, they're not going to tell the whole story when they do. So if you would share this and tag your friends, I'm going to show you the actual lawsuit in just a moment. It's very concise. I couldn't believe how short it was. It's only 6 pages long. It's really only 5 pages long. To its credit, former city manager Tony O'Rourke has hired a powerful attorney out of Tallahassee. She is one of the biggest and best whistleblower lawyers in the whole state. And it's not Marie Maddox, by the way. It's somebody who used to work for Marie Maddox. And she's really good. This lawsuit, this complaint is written so well. There's not a lot of superfluous stuff to it. I mean, it is to the point so that even a judge can understand it. I'm telling you. So if you would share it or tag your friends, I'd sure appreciate it. And as I've been telling you, it's also live on YouTube. Sometimes there's better video there. And so if you were to follow me on YouTube, I haven't been really active. I'm trying to grow the channel. I would make me a happy old man if you would do that. All right. What was I going to do now? Oh, I was going to show you the motion to fire him. And then you're going to actually hear Tony O'Rourke, who was hung out to dry, and they tried to humiliate him in front of everybody. You know, they've done that to me too. But I got to tell you something. It is hard. I mean, I know Tony O'Rourke that day, the boss of the city, felt like a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I know he did. But you talk about standing tall. You talk about being dignified and taking that long walk out. You know why he could do it? Because he's right. Because he's telling the truth. And now he's about to depose them and put them under oath. The people in this particular complaint, in this particular fraud, gross mismanagement, and fraud, gross mismanagement. What was the other one? Neglect of duty. In the city, you've got the elected officials, and then you've got 3 charter employees. These are the officers of the city. And just like in the military, the officers are charged with more responsibility, right? They're not just the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney. They're not department heads who are also high up. They're like the high-ranking enlisted guys. They're like the chief master sergeants. And then you've got the sergeants who really do most of the work. And it goes down from there. The officers of the court, a city attorney, Amy Myers, is the one that knew about this and didn't tell the council. city manager, Mario Rico Gispert, he's the one who directed it because Mayor Mike Thomas told him he wanted it piecemeal for his grandkids. Those are the people involved. So let's watch that. Let's watch the actual vote to fire him and Tony O'Rourke's comments. All right, back to YouTube. All right, here we go. McConnell's motion.
Remove the city manager without.
Is that a motion?
Second.
Motion second. Ms. Fasol, please call it.
Councilman Chester?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor McConnell?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Jarman?
Yes,
Mayor Hill?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. O'Rourke, thank you.
thank you. Can I make one statement?
Yes.
Despite your pretext, I'm clearly being terminated because of my whistleblower complaint I lodged with the city council just yesterday. It's related to suspected acts of gross mismanagement, waste of public funds, and neglect of duty. I look forward to sharing these disclosures and these facts in the near future. It's been a privilege working for the city, particularly these city employees, these department directors are outstanding. It's a great community, and I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's the one honorable man walking out right there. The one honorable man is the one who had to walk out. You want to see the lawsuit now? Miss Sarah Moon, have you been able to post the link? If somebody could post the link to the somebody, she's the only one that has it. I want you to have the PDF so you can see the entire lawsuit. Again, only really 5 pages. Very concise, very well written. You say, Burnie, what do you know about lawsuits? You know what I'm going to say. What I know about lawsuits. I'm not a lawyer, but what do? That's right. I play one on TV. That's what I do, because I've been sued twice by these jokers, and both times we were able to prevail. And again, it's really only because I was telling the truth. That's really the only reason. Here's the lawsuit. You're the first ones to see it. Page 1 of the lawsuit right there. Anthony O'Rourke versus the city of Panama City Beach. Comes now plaintiff. I used to write like that when I would write motion after motion. Hector Solis and these liars saying that I defame them. I used to write that. Comes now plaintiff. Or I was defending on those. So let's get to the good stuff. This is the meat of the lawsuit. Here are the facts, according to the plaintiff, to the complaint, Tony O'Rourke. Tony O'Rourke was employed as city manager. During his employment, plaintiff reported several acts of gross mismanagement, malfeasance, and a waste and misuse of public funds. The plaintiff raised concerns that public funds had been spent to make significant capital improvements to Popeye Park. That's the privately owned lot between the addresses there. And I blocked out the specific address. I didn't have to. It's a public record, people like to say, but it's the decent thing to do. Where his son lives, the residence of his son, he's right there. The current city attorney, Amy Myers, and former city manager, Mario Rico Gispert, they left out the word Rico in the, but we might get to the word Rico eventually, the way these cats are acting. Both knew that the lot was privately owned, and former city manager Gispert used funds that were not specifically budgeted for. See, but Burnie, Mayor Thomas was all about building a lot of parks. He wanted to clean stuff up, build parks. Yeah, but those were in the budget. Those were voted on. This was secret. That's why they spent more than $50,000 to build this park next to his son's house, $10,000 at a time, hoping it would stay out of view. This was in 2019, by the way. Tony O'Rourke, the city manager, informed the city council that the mayor and the Federal Bureau of Investigation was investigating expenditures of taxpayer money related to Popeye Park. He informed the council and the mayor. So O'Rourke says, hey, guys, the FBI is not playing here. All right, we got to make sure we got our I's dotted, our T's crossed. They didn't want to hear that. Instead, they wanted to bring Chief Whitman in as the city manager and bring in this law firm that you're going to see tomorrow at the council meeting. I wonder what they discovered in their internal investigation. They're going to tell us tomorrow. Tony O'Rourke met with the FBI agents and participated in the FBI's investigation. The city was aware of this and objected to his participation. You can't talk to the FBI, said Cole Davis. You can't keep me out of these interviews between the FBI and the employees, said Cole Davis. Tony O'Rourke said, look, I'm the boss of the city, and we're not going to interfere with it. And by the way, you're under investigation as well. Conflict of interest, dude. You don't get to sit in there to hear what they're saying and to intimidate them from saying what they should say. These guys are all co-conspirators. They are blocking, impeding an FBI investigation. They are co-conspirators in all of this. Unbelievable. This is outright theft. This use of taxpayer money to build a park next to the mayor's home. It goes on. City Attorney's Office was attempting to act as legal counsel and advocates for city employees in the FBI investigation. Their actions including attempting to attend witness interviews despite being a material witness and a subject to the investigation. Holy shnikes. No wonder they needed Tony O'Rourke gone. Here's what he's asking for, because I know you'll want to know that. This is page 6. This is the end of the complaint. That is a short, concise, powerful complaint. So he says, look, I want the city to pay my attorney's fees and costs. He wants to be temporarily reinstated to his former position until the end of the trial. They're not going to do that. They've got to have Chief Whitman there. They had to have Al Short there. They've got to run interference. They cannot have their employees talking to the FBI and telling them what they see. He also wants to be awarded interest and equitable relief. I guess let's let the jury decide, or they move toward a number later, and grant such other further relief as being just and proper under the circumstances. You know, he really had his name dragged through the mud by these scumbags, really, who do this to people. How many people have we seen Vice Mayor Jeff McConnell humiliate from up there? How many have we seen Mayor Mike Thomas, Mark Shelton? They did it to the great city clerk, MJ, Mary Jan Bossert. All the good people. All the good people, Tyson Scott, Ken Thorndike, the good people get run out of Panama City Beach by the bad people. And that's part of the reason I do what I do. I can't stand a bully. And I sure hope and pray that the FBI and the U.S. attorney, that they bring it hard, bring it right, make the arrests and the indictments to whoever has been violating the public trust and stealing our money for their own personal benefit and all the other stuff that they do in there. I don't remember where I was in the story now. So the lawsuit has been filed. Miss Sarah Moon, if you can post that link right now. I did post it 3 times. Is she laughing? She'll post a link to the actual, and this will save the news outlets time. If you're watching News Herald, Kaz, WMBB, WJH, you can just go grab them from there if it saves you some time. But anyway, I'll be at the meeting tomorrow, and I think Sharon Decker-Kuhn was right. They'll report when they get the press release for Mark Sheldon, the carefully crafted one. It says, yeah, the lawsuit, but the attorneys that we hired, Holland and Knight, they've concluded. I wonder what they're going to conclude. How do they get around this? The city, the officers of the court, the officers of the city attorney, Amy Myers, knew that this was private property. City manager, Mario Gispert, knew and directed it because he was being pressured by Mike Pay-to-Play Thomas, who wanted that park next to his kid's house for his grandkids. How are they going to get around? What are these internal investigators going to do? If it's what they usually do, I suspect a good person will be thrown under the bus. I'll bet you 8-5. None of the guilty people will be implicated in their internal investigation. But no matter, because there's an FBI investigation. And we have seen that the sheriff's office public trust unit, they're not playing either. Remember, they're the ones who arrested County Commissioner Keith Baker. It wasn't the FBI. So we'll see, but I'll be there and I will tell you everything that I see and everything I find out, hopefully before the rest of them get around to it. And as always, I'm supposed to do this because it keeps me going. If you appreciate what I'm doing, it's because I don't work for those outlets. They made sure of it. I got fired in 2014, and I've been doing my best to walk a tightrope with no net to bring this to you, and I'll keep doing that. But if you want to support my efforts, you can become a patron. You say, Bernie, I can't support you. Are you crazy? They'll come after me too. I know they will. It is anonymous. Patreon is anonymous, and it's easy, and you can quit at any time. And the court has protected my sponsors' anonymity. So that's one way you can do it. I appreciate you being with me so much, and I hope that you'll be with me tomorrow. I've got, oh my gosh, I got to get back to Lynn Haven. What I have found out about Chief Ramey's post, his Facebook post, do you know it violates city policy? And do you know the city manager, Vicky Gaynor, is the one who is responsible for upholding it? I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you more too. God, I got a busy day tomorrow, and I'm getting out of here late tonight. I'll see you soon. I'm here at the scene of the crime spree, right behind me.
Vice Mayor Strange, you'll address her properly. You can kiss my foot. Mr. Rickard, you're out of order.
FBI, we are asking you to investigate this council. Please look into this council, how they award contracts, the bid process, how they use their positions to benefit their friends and themselves, how they use their positions to attack residents and critics and neighbors and business competition. FBI, will you please look into this?
And I welcome the FBI here. If you notice, Mr. Thompson, with his plea for the FBI and his watchdog group, this city runs the cleanest in this whole county. I guarantee
He was served a federal subpoena this
We
morning.
did receive a subpoena this morning, and we're going to cooperate 100% with the subpoena. And
most of you who were involved up here, you gaslighted me. You tried to say I was crazy. And now we know that that's not true. And there's a lot of other issues I've been asking about as well.